Welcome to the Nick and Rob Homer Hour. Rob, the UFL is here.
We're days away. Days away, which means we get to make some picks tonight.
Yes, we're going to be finally making picks in the week one, and we're going to bring a return back to our famous segment. If you guys watch us during the NFL, making picks with Nick and Rob. If you like rock music, the transition is going to do well for you because we're going to get into that. More on the show too is we're going to have a new segment too. That's going to be the first one that starts off the show, the Renegade Rundown, where we talk about Renegade football. I feel like you're 75% in. I know you like the DC Defenders though, Rob. Are you all in on the Renegade train?
Yeah, sure. The DC Defenders were fun. I got no ties to DC. They just put on the best football product last year. And as someone new to the league, it's what I wanted to see. I think we can both agree the Renegade product last year stunk. In fact, all of the Texas teams stunk. So it made it hard as someone new getting into the league. And so for me to not lose my enthusiasm for it, I really started to focus on and enjoy watching the TC Defenders, who I expect to have a decent run in defending their title. But yeah, I'm all in on this Dallas team. I'm all in on the new look UFL. I really like the moves Mike Repoli has been doing so far. Although, did you notice the Rock tried to get in on this a little bit here in the days leading up? Did you see his tweet?
Yeah, he has been quiet for the longest time, and then all of a sudden jumps back into it. You got to think Repoli must have reached out to him. You think he's like, dude, you got to say something about this league because you've been so quiet for so long. I got to get you in on it. But the funny thing is,
owner. Also an owner.
Yeah, also an owner, and the UFL fans aren't having it. They're giving him hell even for jumping back in on it.
Well, yeah, because when he was the main owner the last year, he literally stayed completely silent, and he's one of the most famous people in the entire world. There are plenty of people that love Dwayne Johnson and love The Rock, and if he says, "Hey, check this out," they're gonna do it. There's a reason why his tequila sells really, really well. It's got his name on it. So the fact that he kind of ignored it all last year, and while the UFL just made a lot of dumb business decisions, which we talked about ad nauseum last year, I can see it turning a lot of people off. But you know what? If it helps get more eyes to the product, but not everyone watches just us. So sometimes they need another entryway into the UFL. And if that's The Rock tweeting about it because he's bored and not doing anything with WWE, great. But I totally understand longtime UFL fans being pissy, but let it go, y'all. More fans, more eyeballs is a good thing.
They are a rambunctious bunch, and I really love UFL fans because they're just diehards and they just want their product to be number one. Me and Rob, big UFL fans, but we watch other sports. NFL, we just like the sport of football, and we picked up on it just because we wanted football in the spring. But some of those fans out there, they are just diehard loyal, and if they feel disrespected, they don't want to be a part of whatever is going on, and that must include The Rock. I'm with you though. I'm just glad he's promoting the league. Thank you. Jump back in on this thing because you are The Rock. You have a presence, and you have an opportunity to go get people that don't watch the UFL into the league again. So keep doing what you're doing, Rock.
For sure. All right, where do we want to go first?
With a lot. Let's start with the Renegade Rundown. I mean, we got a cut line that happened last week, and because of internet issues and some things, we're going to talk about that some. And I'm going to try to convince you, Rob, that the offensive line is actually in better shape than it was last year.
Well, for mobile Luis Perez's hopes, let's hope it's true.
Let's hope it's true. Let's kick it off with the Renegade Rundown. Yes, it's the news segment, the Renegade Rundown, and we're going to talk about some Renegade football. As stated earlier, Rob, the number one biggest, weakest link of the Renegades has been in the last 3 years, even when they won the championship, their offensive line. It has been garbage. They always finish in this later half of the rankings when it comes to stopping the run. And I blame that on offensive line. I'm not a running back guy with that. If your offensive line doesn't do well, I don't care if you have Derrick Henry back there. He's not going to be able to get yards if he's having to deal with contact in the backfield every single play.
Yeah.
And the other thing was they allow a lot of sacks. Now, you just mentioned it. Part of the problem is immobile Luis Perez. That's not his strong suit. He's pretty good at manipulating the pocket, but man, if the man can't move, he can get taken down pretty quickly. And they have allowed 60 sacks in the last 3 years, which is just worse in the league by far. And they cannot continue that trend if they want to get above 5-5. So a lot of people were freaking out because of that. Because one of the cuts that they made, two of the cuts they made was Abdul Bigum and Jake Burton in the offensive guard spot. And
were they starters last year?
No, they were signed on. And the weird thing about Abdul is the fact that he isn't that good. Another shout out to UFL fans, by the way. They know players better than anyone out there. They follow these players up from high school all the way up to college, and they know what's going on. I look at it from the outside, and I don't understand the freak out when it comes to Abdul Beckham. I don't get it. He started 2 games for the Battlehawks in 2024 and then had a season-ending injury in 2025. And in my mind, he's clearly not even starting material. 2 games in the last 2 years. It sounds like his injury, it was a hand injury. It's just not working out for him, and he's probably looking more towards retirement. But for some odd reason, a lot of Renegade fans were really upset with that cut.
It doesn't sound like you're too upset with that cut, though, and I trust your takes.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Now, I'm not too worried about this one, but this is the interesting one. They also cut Jake Burton. Now, this one's different. He was a veteran player for the Michigan Panthers for the 2024-25 season, even made the UFL All-Pro team last year, okay? So he's a star-studded guard that got signed on by Neuheisel, and he ended up joining the team, and he didn't make the cut line, and we ended up cutting him. I think this is a good thing, though, because in the draft they addressed it, and we'll get to who they picked up instead. But another thing about Jake Burton, again, a lot of fans are upset about it, but Jake Burton tried to retire from football in August of last year. So to me,
well, it sounds like his heart's not in it.
Exactly. Like, I just don't feel like his heart's going to be in the game, and you end up having to cut the guy. I think it makes perfect sense, especially since you pick up a guy like Keaton Sutherland. And Rob, you're a big Texas fan, so you understand SEC football. He was drafted in the first round, came straight from Texas A&M, and was an offensive guard in Texas A&M in SEC football. This is his first year in professional sports, and he's the one that's going to end up taking the spot over those two. And more people were paying. I think it's a great decision. What conference can bring the closest to professional action than the SEC when it comes to defensive linemen?
Well, SEC and then the Big Ten's right there too. But SEC is a little bit ahead on the defensive side.
Yeah, by far, or not by far. You're right. Big Ten's actually pretty good too. And the fact that we're bringing them on, coming straight from Texas A&M, I think that's going to be a great pickup and an improvement. So for all the Renegade fans that are freaking out about the offensive line, at least when it comes to the offensive guard position, yes, Jake Burton was a veteran. He looked really good. You really wanted him on the team, but 1, we drafted Keaton Sutherland, and 2, why not? I mean, I'll give him a shot over a veteran, especially if he's coming out as a rookie and played in the SEC. I like it a lot. The The other one is Marcus Minor. He's the other one that made the team. He's a veteran. He's been there for the last 2 years, and he's only allowed 1 sack in 2025. So
that's good numbers.
Good numbers. So did I convince you, Rob? Do you think we improved in the guard position?
Yes, that was pretty simple. Why take old broken down people when you can take young people that have good stats and want to showcase the jump to the next level? That's what this league should be for.
Exactly. And he's just trying to get back into the league. Keaton Sutherland. I get people freaking out about Jake Burton being cut, but I think we're in good shape, guys. Let's relax. I think I'll tell you one thing, whoever we dish out there, as long as they're different, the bar is really low for this offensive line. It does not take much to improve it. And if this offensive line gets to at least mediocre, this could be a serious contending team because they don't have that many weak links outside of that. They've got great skill positions. Their defense is really set. They got a great secondary. I expect that this team's going to perform really well. They just got to get their offensive line fixed.
I mean, I know a few teams that are like that would like to have their offensive line get fixed on multiple levels of the sport. You can't win without a solid and top tier offensive line in any league that you play. So it sounds like under Neuheisel, they're making good decisions already. So I like it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about you when I was making this, trying to do some research on who these players are, and I thought about you. I was like, if anyone gets good offensive line play and would want it really bad, the Boston Patriots fan would understand how important an offensive line can perform for your offense and make it much better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, and yeah, so that's important right there. All right. That is huge. So offensive line, better. I'm on it. What else we got with this Renegade Rundown? Anything else jump out to you?
The only other thing that jumped out to me is just because I'm a Cowboys fan. This is Peyton Hendershot. And if you remember, one of the players that they ended up cutting was Sal Cannella. Sal Cannella had 44 receptions, 474 yards, and just 1 touchdown, which is actually really shocking because he feels like he made a lot of big plays out there. He is one of Luis Perez's biggest targets out there, and he ended up going to the NFL. And so when I saw that they were actually bringing on Peyton Hendershot, an ex-Cowboy, I thought he was going to make the cut and be a part of the team, and he didn't. They ended up cutting him pretty quickly. It blows my mind. I mean, for the Dallas Cowboys, he was a 3rd-string tight end, okay? So keep that in mind when I say these stats. He had 15 receptions, 141 yards.
He was a Cowboy.
And 2 touchdowns. Exactly. And I'm thinking, you're a 3rd-string Cowboy and one of Dak's targets. Also a blocking tight end, drafted as a blocking tight end. So he wasn't meant to be a receiving one, but he looked like he improved tremendously in that position with Dak Prescott. We ended up cutting him. He got picked up by the Giants. Then he moved over to Kansas City. And Kansas City ended up letting him go. And that's what gives him the opportunity to join this team. And Peyton Hendershot didn't make the team. And I was a little stunned by that. And ex-NFL player, I thought he would be able to make it. And it looks like Sal Cannella's replacement is going to be Seth Green, who was the backup last year. And he did fine. He had 13 receptions, 150 yards, and he also got a touchdown pass himself. But I am a little concerned because Sal Cannella was an impact player for the Renegades last year. And losing him, I just feel like we didn't really replace the tight end position too much. So it's a little nerve-wracking on the tight end position, and I thought Hendershot could fill in that gap. Didn't look like he filled that gap, so looks like the Renegades are going to have to go with Seth Green, and hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah, no, and I think it will. Neuheisel, I mean, he's a smart coach. He's got some good people around him. I think it's very important that fans be excited that the Dallas, not Arlington Renegades, are taking a fresh approach to this. Honestly, I don't know how much effort Bob Stoops truly put in outside of showing up to practice, showing up to games, and saying, all right, let's call stuff. Neuheisel, I think, will put in a little bit more effort. He's going to want to win. because who knows, maybe it showcases him to get something else. Or if not, he's also a little older. He's also happy to just collect a paycheck, but also produce a winner. So I think these are all good things, and I'm excited for week 1.
Yeah, I am too. And I'll tell you what, that offensive line is going to get a big test next week too, because the Houston Gamblers have a great front seven, and it's going to be a big test for them early on to see if they can protect Luis Perez. So not much else is going on with the Renegades. Obviously, I can't wait till week 1. We'll definitely get the week 1 reaction in the Renegade Rundown next week. But there is more going on in the UFL, Rob.
Yes, there is.
All right.
There is. We're going to hit some Homer headlines.
Yeah, let's hit some Homer headlines.
All right. So we're going to go through some Homer headlines. This week, obviously, we don't have any games to talk about yet, but with the rosters being finalized, at least going into week 1, we can take a look at those rosters and see if there's anything exciting in there. Myself, as someone that was, only became a lifelong diehard fan just last year, you got to us casual fans, we got to find a reason to engage and get excited. So I spent a little bit combing through the rosters, looking for players that maybe, the common fan might go, oh, wait a second, I know that name. What's he doing in the league? Let me check this out. And so I went through the rosters of all the teams, and for the most part, found a couple guys on every team. One team, actually 2 teams, I really didn't find much, but that's okay. We'll start with those Renegades, a couple guys that we can talk about right off the bat. Although I will say, one thing the UFL's got to fix, they need someone in their marketing department or that's doing their SEO to make sure that current links are popping up. When I first tossed in a couple searches for current rosters, the first thing that popped up was the link to the 2025 rosters. Last I checked, it's 2026. Now, it wasn't too hard to then go to the page, click on the team, click on roster. But if it was in the headlines, week 1 starting this week. It's in the headlines. It's coming up. All right. Is there anyone that I might get excited about? I'm just going to do a quick search like that so I don't have to go clicking through everything and see what pops up. So there might be some people that are confused that might tune in and they'll looking for guys that aren't in the league anymore. So come on, UFL. That's too much the old UFL. Let's get that fixed. But go ahead, Nick.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that's one of the most frustrating things with the UFL, and I hope they get that fixed. It's just stat gathering, research, and things like that. UFL, please do something about that, because people like us that want to talk about the league, it helps a lot to keep our accuracy up, and it's hard to be accurate if we don't have proper information or have to scavenge harder to go find it when it could be posted on ESPN like it is in the NFL. I'm right there with you, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, and they got to do much better. Hopefully they do better with stats this season. They're almost impossible to find last season. Hire a couple stats guys. Come on, get some interns out of like some of the top sports information departments in the country. Get a couple interns. Come on, let's go. Not that hard. You would think. Mm-hmm. You would think. But I don't know. I'm not running the league office right now. In Ripley, we think we trust maybe. We'll find out.
We're going to
start with the Renegades. Besides some players we've already talked about, a couple names jumped out to me. One was Denzel Mims, wide receiver. He was taken by the Jets in the second round back in 2020. He got traded to the Lions in 23, and then he kind of bounced around the league. He has been in this league a little bit. He's been on the Battlehawks, but now he's technically one of the bigger names, because he was someone that I know a lot of people took a flyer on in their fantasy team a couple times because of his high draft stock coming into the NFL. So we'll see if he's going to be a good outlet for Luis Perez going into this season. So that's a name to keep an eye on. Another one to look at on the other side of the ball, Nick, it's another former Cowboy. It's not, and it's fitting, ha ha ha, because it's Tuesday. It's Taco Charlton. All right, Taco Charlton. He former first round pick of the Cowboys back in 2017. Someone who did get a first round grade leading into the draft, but most Cowboys fans were not excited when he was the pick at all, and then he did very little to change that at all in Dallas. And he fell out of favor within 2 years, struggling at playing time. Went ahead and go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. I'm not trying to.
No,
my
keep
bad.
Going. You go. No, you go.
Real quick on Taco Charlton, it was really weird though. He did play with us last year, but then I guess it's a signing because he left us and then came back. Mm-hmm. I guess I kept on seeing free agent pickups, and I was like, we already had Taco, but
yeah, I think
he's not. He's not a bad UFL player, by the way. He's actually really good in the UFL. I would stay away from the Cowboys, Taco. Never come back.
Yeah, I don't think he's one of those guys. Also because he's older. Again, 2017 was when he got drafted. We're now in 2026. So he's most likely, he's not someone that's showcasing for another chance. He's more of one of those guys that he doesn't want to hang him up yet. That's not to be said that a team that might get thin at defensive end, if he balls out this spring, might not bring him in for camp, but he's just not ready to hang it up quite yet. So then we're going to bounce over to the Birmingham. We're mostly going to go alphabetical order the rest of the way, but I figured let's start with our Renegades. The Birmingham Stallions, their returning quarterback is a name that most people should know. Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. Also, going through these rosters, Ole Miss is apparently a factory for the UFL. Every single team has multiple players on them from Ole Miss. So you can't say that about Texas, Oklahoma, not really about Bama.
I was going to say, is that a selling point for Ole Miss? You think it should be? I mean, it's professional.
Play
sports.
At the next level. They can play at a next level. Also, Ole Miss did just have their best year ever. And as long as they're not playing Texas, good for them if they can keep that success going. I expect both them and Vanderbilt to fall back to the pack this year in the SEC football, and everyone will be looking up at Arch Manning as he crushes everybody. But, that's just my opinion. So, yeah, Matt Corral, once again, is the starting quarterback for the Stallions. He was on again, off again, the starter last year. Looks like he is going into this season. He's going to be the starter. So let's see if he can hold on to it. He had a good chance in the NFL, but he had some personal issues that really blew it. And then from there, that's just where we are at. So Matt Corral. The other name that jumped out to me, which was interesting, Stephen Gilmore. He's a cornerback. He's out of Marshall. Why that name's interesting? He's got a brother. His name's Stefan. Last name Gilmore. Also plays defensive back. So in the secondary. So it's kind of fun to see. It's always fun to compare brothers. Not the other lesser brother compared to a more famous football brother we'll talk about today. But yeah, that's what we got for the Stallions.
Well,
so yeah, any thoughts on those guys? I don't know about Matt Corral, but if he's still starting by week 4, then he's starting to turn something around.
I love Matt Corral just because he has a cannon of an arm, but where that ball goes, no one knows. And he is a little bit interception prone. But if they have an offense with AJ McCarron, we'll see how that works out. That is structured well with him. He can. I mean, he could ball out. You just need to get him honed in, and he's deadly accurate. He's got an NFL arm. Love watching Matt Corral play. Love watching it. Just don't know where the ball's going. Decision making's a question mark.
Yeah. So then we go over to the Columbus Aviators. Not a lot of names that jump out to you at all. One of their quarterbacks, though, does. Aiden Sayin. He went to Penn from the Ivy League. Clearly a powerhouse football program, right? They're not even a powerhouse in the Ivy League. But do we know, Nick, any idea why he is someone that I circled?
I no, I
It's college
got
football related.
so Texas. He was a next Texas player. No,
No, he is the older brother of Julian Sayin, who is the starting quarterback. He was a true freshman this year for Ohio State and played very well. There's either people are Arch Manning's the best, or they're saying Julian Sayin's the best when it comes to the top quarterback going into this year in college football. So that's interesting to see another brother trying to thrive and maybe find his way onto into an NFL camp. That's kind of cool. Next up, the DC Defenders. They really don't have any like names that pop out to the casual fan, unless you caught some headlines last year for my favorite player in the league, Jordan Tiamu. Tiamu returns, still doing his thing. If he continues to do his thing, and an NFL team doesn't bring him to a camp, I really don't know what's going on anymore. But I think he's pretty good. But other than that, a lot of people you'd be like, I don't know. But they got Shannon Harris back as head coach, and this team is they're going to be probably, at least for the first half of the season, I would imagine, be favored in every one of their games until it's proven otherwise. So just because they don't have a name that jumps out doesn't mean it's not worth watching them play. It really is. That they're a very good gateway into the UFL for the casual fan.
real.
All right. Then we got Houston. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then we got Houston. Now the Gamblers. All right. A couple names popped out. The one that popped out for me, another brother thing. It's Talua. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Taglovia, Tua's younger brother. He balled out at Maryland for several years. He was at Bama, and then Bama's like, you're not quite good enough, and you want too much money. So he pieced out to Maryland. He hasn't really spent any time in Houston's camp. He just got picked up. So I don't expect him to be starting anytime soon. But I think they just said, you know what? We got one of the coaches liked what they saw. They said there's some name recognition there. Let's bring him in. And that's super helpful. The other one that popped out to me, he's a guy that was drafted by the Steelers in the 3rd round back in 2017. His name's Cam Sutton. Does that name ring a bell for you?
Must be another brother from Cortland Sutton. That's no.
Nope. No, he was drafted in the 3rd round of the Steelers in 2017. Quite quickly became a regular contributor on their defense, which that says something if you're contributing and playing hard for the Steelers and getting reps because they have a good defense.
Gotcha. Yeah. And the Tua thing is pretty exciting too, by the way. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't flagging you down. I was doing camera stuff.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were. Yeah, you never know. Maybe that means we'll see Tua on the sidelines. Hopefully, if we do, that means he's wearing some sort of protective covering around his head because some of these kickers aren't very accurate. We don't want Tua getting taken out on the sideline. That wouldn't be good. But Cam Sutton, he balled out and he earned himself, the Lions signed him going into 2023 season to a 3-year, $33 million deal, which was pretty good. Started all 17 games from the first year with the Lions, and then he blew it. He got a domestic violence charge. He ended up getting arrested. And then the league back in 24 suspended him for 8 games. No one's touched him since. So this is his chance to show that he's learned his lesson and to get another shot at football. So we'll see what comes from that story. We'll see whether he deserves this shot and go from there. I don't think the Houston team's going to be throwing up banners saying, hey, look, we have former Steeler Cam Sutton, but that's where you might know that name from.
Yeah, I do believe in second chances, though. You know, if he made a mistake way back when, and even though it's an egregious mistake, you know, come on in, try to get it right, and come back in. And if you're a good player too, you know, it's going to be very entertaining for the UFL to perform well. And being part of that Gamblers defense is going to be tough because they're already pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't deep dive into him, so I don't know exactly where things stand as far as if he's truly shown that he deserves a second chance or not. Obviously, Houston thinks he does, and things will go from there. All
Yeah.
right. The Louisville Kings, that's our next team we're going to take a quick look at. I'm going to mention briefly Jason Bean. I'm only mentioning him because he was the number 1 overall pick in the UFL draft this year. He played quarterback for Kansas. Back in 23, he started for 2.5 seasons. Back in 23, he had a really good season for Kansas, which says something. He threw for 2,100 yards. He had 18 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. That's pretty good. So we'll see if that translates with him being the number 1 overall pick. I imagine he's the opening day starter for Louisville, and we'll go from there. But the name that I think that'll jump out to most people, though, they go, wait, I know that guy. Benny Snell, one of their running backs. I'm hoping they're starting running back. Do you remember, Nick, where he is from?
Pittsburgh?
Yes. He was a 4th-round pick for Pittsburgh back in 2019. And then he played a lot from 2019 to 2022 with them. And then from there, he didn't really earn another contract. The Lions picked him up, and then he just kind of washed out. So this is him trying to show off that he's still got some legs. And you know what? You can never have enough running backs because you never know when one's going to go down. So this is hopefully a chance for him to showcase himself and get into a camp next year. The only former Longhorn I could really find, Tariq Black, he was a Longhorn back in 2020, is also playing in Louisville. But that's all I got there. Orlando Storm have St. Louis. They don't really have, but hopefully, though, they still have a quality team, but they didn't have any names that jumped out. But the biggest thing that they lost is they lost their head coach.
Yeah, and that is by far who moved over to Orlando Storm. But I'll tell you one thing. I find it really funny that the no-name teams, for the common fan, tend to be really good. You got the DC Defenders and so far the St. Louis Battlehawks, historically really good spring league team. So it's an opportunity for new names to show up, and there's a lot of entertainment out there.
And the Battlehawks, they better hope they got to win out the gate because they have the most diehard fan base in the league. DC Defenders might say, hey, wait a second, we've got a beer snake over here, and they do. But historically, the Battlehawks are who show up year in and year out. So, but the league asked them to move to Orlando. Anthony Beck moved to Orlando. Also, pretty sure that's where Repoli is from. So they're kind of sort of taken over as the flagship team in the league in a way that San Antonio kind of was for a little bit because of the Rock and the Brahmas and all that. So, Orlando, I think the league wants Orlando to win and win quickly. And that's a market where there's no reason why you can't be pulling fans in because they're in Orlando. There's a lot of people always in Orlando for a lot of things, needing something to do at night, get them into a game. So hopefully that works out. Speaking of them, the 2 names that popped up, one, KJ Hamler, wide receiver. He was in the league last year too, I believe, in the UFL. He's pretty famous as far as he balled out for Buffalo and Denver for a little bit, but he had some injuries. So he's back again, trying to show now he's still a reliable target, but also at the same time, he's starting to get older. So I'd probably put him more in the category that I put some of those other guys in, like Taco Charlton, that he's just not ready to hang it up yet. Honestly, though, probably the guy that has the best chance of taking over as the best quarterback in this league, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, quarterback.
Careful,
you know where that name's from?
I do not. I'm back.
Cleveland Browns. He started several games over the last few years for the Cleveland Browns and often showcased himself really well. He's a very mobile quarterback, and he's decently accurate with his arm. He's someone that he can come in and potentially take over. He is far more mobile than your boy Luis Perez.
Right.
So I would already but that being said, apparently he's not like the fully entrenched starter. They got another guy that's apparently also pretty good. So we'll see. But that guy's more traditional. So we'll see if it's more of those. Do you have two quarterbacks for none, or what you got going on there in Orlando? But I'd imagine Dorian Thompson-Robinson could very easily take over the Bryce Perkins role for this league.
Yeah, and Anthony Beck loves himself a mobile quarterback. He was did that with Silver, and he knows how to work with them. So if you got legs and you're still working on accuracy or whatever, he could thrive in any quarterback could thrive in an Anthony Beck offense. It's just really well structured. So if you got the talent, I bet you he's just going to go with the talent and go with him.
Yep. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's so the big names that are supposed to draw people in. I hope Rob has convinced a lot of you NFL fans or college football fans to get on board with this, because it is a wonderful product. And if you start following some athletes that you previously liked for whatever reason, get them into this, get into cheering for this team, this league. You're going to find out pretty quickly that it's highly talented. It's good football. You don't need gimmicks. I don't know why we're doing gimmicks, but overall, it's a really good product. And, I'm really happy. I can't wait to get more people on board. How do you think they're doing on the marketing front, by the way, Rob?
It seems better this year. I can't speak a ton to it because being in Austin, we're not in one of the local markets. I'm really curious. I don't know if you have any friends out in Dallas that you could ask about. I'm curious the marketing that they're doing within the local markets to get people excited, get people in there, besides just advertising through social channels, through TV, through Fox and ESPN and all that. But I'm wondering, are they really getting in there? Because one of the things that was tough for fan investment was with everyone being in a hub. And Nick, are they still all in a central hub again this year? Do you know? I haven't seen much about that.
I have not. I would assume they're staying in Arlington. I'll look that up while you're working. But yeah, let me look at that.
Because longtime fans of the pod will know one of our biggest gripes about, we understood the logic of saving money last year and having them all based in Arlington. But then because of that, and because the teams, even the home teams, always flying out to play the game, staying in a hotel, they're not in the community throughout the week. And therefore, you're missing out on key opportunities for players to go to schools, go to food drives, go to these do events at, car lots, things like that, where the community go out, be in the community, get the community excited, give them a personal connection and reason to then tune into the game. They're not visiting kids at hospitals in these local markets. And, that's how you build the grassroots of the league, is you get those connections. So again, not sure if they're in a hub or not this year, but hopefully they do, and Nick will have that answer for us in a second once I stop talking. But hopefully, even if they are, they find a way to connect personally to these markets.
They are 100% in the hub. They're still traveling from Arlington to the respected games. So they're trying to save money, and man, money is going to have to be something that they're going to have to save, because as someone pointed out, they lost 60 million last year. So it's going to have to be something. But I'm right there with you. You got to get to the local grounds. You asked me earlier if the Dallas sports fans are getting it. To my knowledge, I never hear anything about the UFL, so I don't know if it's touching base with them at all. I know I listen to the local radio station, and I have not heard any UFL talk. That's probably not a good indicator. The only one that reached out to me and mentioned the UFL is my brother, who doesn't even watch football. He just likes attending games. He's just really interested in the atmosphere. And he reached out to me and goes, "Hey, they're playing in Frisco. You want to go?" So we got that. I don't know if it's from marketing, but it's something. He's aware.
Nice. And that is one of those things. If you are listening to us and you're in one of these local markets, you're in Orlando, you're in Dallas, Houston, etc., go to one of these games. They're cheap. You can get in for You can get in the door in Dallas for $13. You can get really good seats if you want them for between 35 and $50. So it's actually reasonable to take a family out to a game, go with some buddies, do a little tailgating, have a fun day in decent spring weather. Get yourself to a game. We will be going at some point this season. It hasn't been officially decided what game yet. Most likely, obviously, to a Dallas game or instead of a Houston game. And we'll be hopefully doing a pregame show live from a parking lot right outside the stadium. But yeah, get yourself to a game. It's live's almost always better.
It's a fun atmosphere. I've been to a UFL game, I think 3 times total, and I loved every single game I went to. It's a blast to watch, and it's always fun live. And it's almost, and I know this isn't a selling point for the UFL. It's kind of nice that the crowd is actually a little tampered down because all the players see you, they hear you, and they interact with you too. And which is really good for the league too, because it gives that opportunity for those fans, those loyal fans, to be in touch with the players that they like. And it's a great opportunity you get to watch your heroes close and in person if you're a big UFL fan.
Yeah. So I think, Nick, the last thing we wanted to touch on for Homer headlines was more under the category of you hope all news is good news, even if what's being said isn't so good. Coming straight from the ESPN network, which is the craziest thing.
Yeah, we had Pat McAfee actually talking UFL, reviewing the tape. It didn't look as bad as everyone's making it out to be, but I'm going to go ahead and post it and get their reaction on it. And Rob, I want to hear your take on what Pat McAfee had to say.
Kickers and the specialists in this league.
That's
whatever they call it. Are we worried at all that the USXFL may have spent their entire league year budget on getting these guys to perform? And
maybe. You got to remember, last time they played, they lost $60 million. So picking up Nelly and the St. Lunatics for halftime is nothing.
What's
in the middle of that?
What's it going to look like, though?
Go ahead and charge it to the game, says Rapoli.
I hope they can fill the stands because you know how it is. It's tough to play anyway at halftime with the stadium.
Russell Dickerson's filling the stadium.
Smart business move by him. Bringing these at.
You're right.
Make it 2 minute quarters.
I like that they're trying to make it an event.
I do too.
I have no service. I can't.
Why? Okay, diehard UFL people online. Oh my goodness! Stop being mad about everything. McAfee didn't say anything bad. He pointed out that they lost $60 million last year. That's a public fact. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be spending money trying to make it an opening day weekend event, which I actually think is a great thing. It helps get butts in seats to put. Hey, if you're a fan of Ludacris, and either you haven't seen him in a while or you've never seen him live, that's even though he doesn't play the big venues anymore, that's probably the cheapest way you're ever going to see a quick 7 to 10 minute concert from Ludacris is to go to that game. And then maybe they're going to get more fans. Same with Gucci Mane. Ty Myers is up and coming in the country scene. Smart get in Dallas. And now because now for some of these guys, like the Wallies, the Ludacrises, they've got their audience. It's fun. They want to do it. They're getting a paycheck. But for some of these other guys, like a Ty Myers, it's a two-way street. They're also branching out to a new audience as well. And that's smart. And I know whoever his little whiny assistant was over there was like, oh, they don't even fill the stadium. Well, one of the smart things they've done, we talked about it, they've moved to smaller stadiums. Plus, what I saw, at least when I looked at tickets for the Dallas game this weekend, they're only letting you buy on one side. So they're making sure what they're using is going to look as full as possible. And then they'll probably, if needed, open other spots. They probably don't need to in week one. They probably have to prove some things to some people. But, I will say, though, Mr. Sidekick over there, ESPN's a home network for this league. So if you're sitting there trying to dump on it, that's not a smart take. I don't think McAfee was. I think he was just kind of saying it like it was. So UFL fans, stop being so prickly.
I was right there with them when I heard it, and I saw the quote posted. I was like, oh, geez, Pat McAfee's crapping on the league. And then I had to cut the tape to put it on here, and I should have just texted you, Rob, that I was like, It's actually not bad. He's right.
Not bad.
I mean, everything he's saying is accurate. And he even said that I'm glad they're putting him out there. So I don't understand why we're sensitive. We're a sensitive bunch, I guess. And they didn't like what Pat McAfee had to say, but he didn't say anything wrong. I didn't get offended by it. And he's right. They were down the hole $60 million. And he's also right. What's another 10 million more to go ahead and get more people out there? You have a billionaire now signed on to help marketing, and that's exactly what they're doing over there. I like what they're doing with the halftime show. Don't worry about Pat McAfee, guys. In fact, he talked about it. That alone should be good enough for any UFL fan.
Right there with the hold the rock thing. Like, come on, guys. Don't be so prickly and like, oh, I know this cool thing before everyone else does, and then hate on all the newcomers just because. Because guess what? If you don't get newcomers, this league could be gone in 2 years.
Could be. I mean, we need them. We need them bad, and we cannot be rude to anyone coming on here that's new. So I'm right there with you, Rob. It just wasn't. It's a nothing burger that fans were just freaking out about.
For sure.
Do you think we're ready? You ready to?
I was gonna say we can either go to picks or we can touch on outside the UFL. I'm down for either.
Which one do you want? Which one do you want, Rob? I got both in the chamber, ready to go for you.
Let's go picks. We're talking UFL. Let's go picks.
All right.
Making picks with Nick and Rob. Nick and Rob. The picks might be a hatchet job. Less reliable than a corn on the cob, but I love hearing picks from Nick and Rob.
We're back. And real quick, Rob, did you like the new cut up? I did a little editing to make it somewhat better.
New but fresh. I liked it. I mean, last year our picks were a hatchet job, but we're smarter and wiser this year.
You were a newbie in the UFL. I was not. I've been watching it and I still got it wrong. And you know what always gets me? It's the Renegades. I'm such a homer that I always end up picking them, and I'll do it again. But before we go ahead, Rob.
That being said, one of our biggest mistakes far and away was to try to pick against the spread, which we should not have done. We should have just been picking straight up winners, and we've made that adjustment for this year. We're picking straight up winners.
Yeah, and I know we're pushing a little bit of time, and we are going to pick straight up winners. But real quick, Rob, this is the current power rankings. Do you see any problem with that? We got DC Defenders #1, Stallions, Orlando, Storm, St. Louis.
Put out by UFL Media or the UFL League itself?
UFL Media. This is UFL Media, and they are hard on the Renegades. They always have been, and I guess rightfully so in the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally fine. Anything that didn't have the DC Defenders up top, I would have been like, what are you doing? Continuity-wise, I guess Birmingham, but we don't even know if A.J. McCarron knows how to coach. Did he figure out how to use the headset? Is he ready? We don't know. So, I don't know. It's all after #1, it doesn't matter. It's a talking point. It'll be a bigger talking point next week.
Yeah, it will be. I just wanted to post it real quick, but I didn't see anything that alarming over there. I'm always mad about the Renegades, okay? Because the UFL Media hates on the Renegades so much, but I'm a homer. I get it, and I know how bad I am.
The show is called Homer Hour.
It is called Homer Hour, yes, sir, and I am a big fan, so I hope they do well this year. But that's not the first game that ends up happening. The first game that's going to happen is the Birmingham Stallions on Friday are going to play at the Louisville Kings. The point spread does have the... God, I can't read it. 4.5 towards the Stallions. Rob, what are you thinking?
I did say that the Kings have someone who very quickly could become the best quarterback in this league on their roster. So So, oh wait, no, that's the Storm. Oh my goodness, the Kings. Who did I say the Kings have? Oh, they have Jason Mean, Mr. Number 1 overall. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna give it to Louis. Who's the Louisville head coach?
Louisville, I believe Chris Redman. I don't want to get it wrong. Hang on.
Let's see. Chris Redman.
Yes,
Does
Chris
he have
Redman.
Do we say he had coaching experience?
I believe no.
All right, then I'm going to give it to I wanted to give it to Louisville because I was like, the Stallions don't have a guy that can coach. He's just going to. But you know what? They've got the better of the two former quarterbacks that are being coaches. So Birmingham.
He's going Birmingham.
Lock it in at 10 million units.
Yeah, I'm going there with you. You just got to go with the favorites for the most part on week 1, and I'm just going to go with Birmingham out there. You know, AJ McCarron. I love Matt Corral. I do like Matt Corral, so I'm just going to go with the, quarterback hot hand. I am nervous as hell about this AJ McCarron thing, but we're going Birmingham Stallions, and we'll see if they can perform. The next one we got is the DC Defenders against the St. Louis Battlehawks, a rivalry as one of the biggest rivalries in the UFL. I make a debate Renegades versus DC Defenders, but most UFL fans would say,
why is this a noon kick on a Saturday?
I don't know. I know they got the DC Defenders who have a lot of eyeballs, and then of course St. Louis Battlehawks. The St. Louis market's going to jump in on it. I'm not too sure.
I would have done the Gamblers Renegades game at 3 still, but then I would have had the Defenders and Battlehawks on after that.
Prime time or move them to Sunday. I don't get it. I'm right there with you. This is a big game, especially for UFL fans.
Defenders Battlehawks, I probably would have put Sunday night. Granted, at the same time, they're going up against the opening weekend for baseball, so maybe I don't know the exact what games are going off. So maybe they were trying to get a big game in as a prelude, but it sucks because that game's not going to have a lot of national eyeballs. But hopefully, St. Louis isn't so mad about not having their coach they don't fill the stands.
Yeah. I hope they're not too mad. I really hope they're not, because that was kind of a botch job on the league, and I'm not a fan of them moving Anthony back. They love Anthony back over there. I think it's a terrible choice. I don't even like the fact that the rivalry is going to be week 1. I think that's a bad time for the rivalry because UFL fans are going to be engaged in this anyway. Let's mix it up and then actually get this rivalry kicked off somewhere in week 3 or 4, but hey, the schedule's the schedule.
Yeah, maybe split up that Columbus and Orlando game and have each one of them going to one of these two teams.
Yeah. Get the new teams to the older teams and then let them duke it out. So the DC Defenders are favored by 3.5 points. Do you love yourself some DC Defenders? Do you think they're going to be able to
I'm picking the Defenders here. Continuity with the same head coach, same quarterback, a lot of the same players. And there's no reason for them to be complacent because they're not in the NFL. They're trying to prove their worth and stick around. So I think they'll come out hard. They'll come out playing hard, especially because this is one of the more fun. This is probably the most fun rivalry in the UFL. Right now is this one right here. If the Renegades could win a little bit more, hopefully they do, that the Renegades could start saying that they're right there with these teams as well. But yeah, these are two of the best teams in the league, probably the two best teams, but Defenders, I'm giving it to them.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the DC Defenders too. And if continuity equals winning, this team's going to do well because they're the only one that has almost complete continuity from last year, and they won the championship last year. So I think they're in really good position. I'm right there with you. DC Defenders should get an easy win. They lost their coach, Anthony Beck. We'll see if they can get improvements, but I'm just not big on the St. Louis Battlehawks. And maybe it's opening the gate to allow the Renegades to become that rival team for them. I hope so, because my rivalry standpoint is the St. Louis Battlehawks hate the DC Defenders, and I'm like in the back going, hey, I hate them too, but no one cares about the Renegades right now because we've been so bad the last 2 years. So yeah, that's definitely a big one. And we're both going DC Defenders, right, Rob, on that one?
We're both doing that. And then so now we're looking at 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Houston goes to Dallas. Nick, who are you taking in this one?
Bro, it's not even close. Can I pick Houston week 1? I can. No, it's not happening. It's not happening in here. I'm not letting Houston beat Dallas on week 1. I'm not going to allow it. Dallas Renegades all day. The favorite, too, by 4.5 points. I don't know if I agree with that, but I guess the league's seeing something. But no, sorry, Houston. I get it. You have a strong defense. You're bringing back Henderson. You got Sumlin as the head coach, so that actually is going to be a nice advantage for them. I think that's a good change from CJ Johnson. No, Luis Perez is going to tear you up and get an easy win. Renegades all day. Sorry, Houston. I said it. Oh, and someone even left the chat. So, not the chat, but left the audience. Might have scared off a Houston fan. I don't care. Give me the Renegades. Give me the Renegades all day.
We're going to go Gamblers.
You got to change it up.
Call it change it up so we don't both pick, because I have a feeling we're both picking the same thing for the next game. I'm going to go with and plus the Renegades just kept letting us down last year. So Renegades, prove me wrong. Make me pick you in week 2.
I love it. That's fine. If that's the game where I pick up on you, I'll take it, Rob. I'll take it. Come get it.
And then if somehow Houston wins, I'll just shrug and say, it's not the team I wanted to pick, but I did something different.
Yeah, the classic, I hate it when I'm right, Jordan Shrug, you know.
So then we got the last game. Again, they're trying to make this Orlando Storm team into their new flagship team. Sunday, 7 p.m. on ESPN. So I guess there's no... Oh, wait, Sunday Night Baseball is no longer on ESPN. That's right. So this is going head to head with baseball, but I believe the baseball is going to be on NBC. Let me check this real quick. I'm curious. While I look this up, who do you think, Nick? Who do you think is going to take this down?
Oh, I got the wrong team. Sorry. I put them up. I put the wrong team up. Dang it. Let me go with the Orlando Storm just because I like Anthony Becht a lot and he's looking really good. So give me Orlando Storm. You also talked me into it with the former quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I think he's going to be a good addition for them. And any talented quarterbacks going into this league is going to be good for Anthony Becht. So yeah, give me the Orlando Storm. I believe the Columbia's Aviators came from the Memphis Showboats, so if they moved over a lot of those players in that direction, the Memphis Showboats were by far the worst team in the UFL. So I'm going to say they continue on doing what they do, and the Orlando Storm are going to end up winning it.
I mean, the only famous player I had for the Aviators is only famous because his younger brother's better than him. Yeah, Orlando Storm, I think for the league, hopefully it's not a blowout and it's entertaining all the way down and it is within that 1.5 points, but it would not shock me if this was a double-digit win for Orlando. And yeah, so ESPN, I guess, is going to go with hosting Sunday night UFL games for the spring, going head-to-head with NBC, but at least in week 1, NBC is not putting Sunday Night Baseball on their regular network. It's just on Peacock. So ESPN has a chance to steal some viewers. Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like, I know we're on the same page with the Orlando Storm. Looks like they're only favored at 1.5, Rob.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll definitely see. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, and it looks like for that Saturday, having that early Saturday game, I think they're just trying to get something in before all of the baseball games start kicking off around 1:00 Central and just roll right on through. And that Saturday, and they don't have a Saturday night game. It's probably smart because Fox has Yankees at Giants. Those are two huge markets. So that makes sense why then it's a morning and a mid-afternoon game on Saturday. But again, goes back to the point I was making at the end of last season. Put these games midweek.
We are in March Madness too. That's another thing. I don't like that. You got to give us something right before because March Madness is going. By the way, shout out to Texas. Are you going to mention them in other sports?
I mean, Texas is not my number one basketball team. Providence Friars are, but I still root for them when they're playing. But also, your Cornhuskers, legendary battle of all-time basketball legendary schools here. Iowa, Nebraska, Sweet 16.
That's right, America. Deal with it. That's what I have to say. Deal with it. Yeah, like March Madness and things like that. I used to argue against the idea of actually starting this league back in February, and I get why they have to because there's players getting cut in the NFL, and you can possibly get a roster spot in there. But man, if they would transition this straight off the Super Bowl like the XFL did, I was completely wrong. I think it works. It gets right into it, and people get excited. You say it the other way.
I like this better. It lets people breathe a little bit and decide they're missing football. So I think that's good. But you can be smarter with how you're setting up your market. And if we were playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays or Wednesdays and Thursdays, you'd be going up against regular season NHL and NBA and very early season baseball. You'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And they should do that. Especially in the beginning, baseball is huge, but then it starts tapering off pretty quickly. It's such a long season.
It's a long season.
Yeah. But the baseball, the seam heads get really excited. And me too. I mean, I got to watch opening day for the Texas Rangers. Speaking of which, we do cheer for other teams, by the way. Rob, huge Boston sports fan outside of Texas when it comes to college. And, you know, I'm a big Dallas sports fan. It's not just the Renegades. Should we talk about some of our other teams, Rob?
I think it's time. I like it. We'll see if we keep that headline or if it changes for this segment. But I like that little intro. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the old Pixar lamp.
That's exactly what I was going for. Something just screamed in my head, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be funny." One football, and then the rest of the sports follow behind it. So, because that's mainly what we talk about is football, so it ends up working out. So Rob, what's going on? what you got going?
You know, we're in the stretch run for the NHL, so that's exciting. The Bruins are fighting for a spot, unlike your Stars that are definitely going to be in the tournament. Bruins still trying to get in. But today I want to talk about baseball because it is opening week for the MLB. I'm excited, and we have two teams that should be contending. One that might have to do more work than the other as far as the Rangers go. But, you know, Boston, ESPN's got them in the top 10 of their power rankings. They have remade a good chunk of their roster. They've addressed some holes. They've completely botched third base. We traded Rafael Devers because he was a quote-unquote cancer to bring in an older but a arguably better defender for sure in Alex Bregman, who also had a pretty good bat. Arguable if it was better than Devers, but Bregman's proven his bat in the postseason. And then, you know, we ended up having to trade Devers away because they just couldn't coexist. And then, of course, Boston made sure to lock down Bregman, right? We locked him down for the foreseeable future. No, we didn't. He's gone for nothing. Gone for nothing. Good job, Boston. Well done. But you know what? It is what it is. So we've got ourselves a new third baseman who I was about to. There we go. Why in the world? I looked up Boston Red Sox opening roster and it gave me, and that's the headline I clicked on, and it's giving me Yankees and Giants. So while I pull up the roster I want to, Corbin Durbin's the guy that is taking over at third base. But the two players I'm probably most excited for on this roster, one on the offense, one as a pitcher, is going to be Roman Anthony. Is a stud. He made his debut for Boston in the outfield last year and immediately started raking. We extended him very quickly, so he's going to be around for a while. And this is his chance this year to be the next face of the Red Sox. This is his chance to step up and be this generation's Manny Ramirez, maybe this generation's David Ortiz if he can do stuff in the postseason. He's young. He, as far as marketing goes, he's very good looking, and he can play defense and he can hit the ball. So he's going to be given every chance to be the superstar that this team needs and be the one that they're going to build this roster around. So I'm very excited to see him rake for sure. His WBC didn't end all that great. He went down as the last batter against Venezuela, but you could say at that point that was more of a destiny thing versus anything else. He also did have a pretty solid WBC overall outside of that last at bat. I'd say his WBC was better than Aaron Judge. Suck it, Aaron Judge. So I'm excited to see what Roman Anthony does. Full season, full runway, and hopefully it's a lot of good stuff. The other guy I am super excited about, as I kick my dog out of the room, someone's daring to walk past our house. How dare they?
Hi, Prim.
He's projected to be our number 5 starter to start the year. Conley Early, he got called up last year. He's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, definitely at the top of our pitching prospect list, right there with Peyton Tolley. And he came out and he pitched very well. He came up and they just kind of kept him up for the rest of the season. Then going into this year, it was a quick look at, okay, is he going to make the roster out of the bullpen? Is he going to have to start at AAA Worcester? Not AAA Pawtucket anymore, AAA Worcester. RIP McCoy Stadium, year 2 of you being gone. But he is penciled in as the number 5 starter, which is awesome. He is the number 5 starter, and he's going to have a chance to be on the team the whole way through. And if the way he started last season is any indication, he hopefully will outpitch his projections as a number 5 guy in what is a very remade roster, and it's really exciting. So the opening day roster right now, some of the big changes the Sox have made. We didn't really have a first baseman all last year because Tristan Casas can't stay healthy. We went and we signed Wilson Contreras. He should be raking at first base, which is really good. Also, outside of Garrett Crochet, we didn't really have a rotation like at all. Brian Bello would sometimes pitch great and sometimes pitch terrible, but he was just kind of there to eat innings. He's back because he's still young. He can develop. But we brought in veteran Sonny Gray. So that's a low risk, high upside opportunity there. And if he falters, we've got Peyton Tolley waiting to come up from Worcester. We signed Ranger Suarez. He played pretty well, I believe, for Philly last year. So he's definitely going to be our number 2 guy getting it started. And then we still got Brian Bello, and then we got Conley Early, who's going to be the number 5 guy, who beat out another signing in Johan Oviedo, who's going to start in the bullpen probably as the long reliever. So we've got ourselves a slightly remade team. You know, Durbin was coming over from Milwaukee. Hopefully he can keep hitting. He's not a big power guy, but he can get hits. I'm excited. This is a team that should be competing for the AL East right there with Toronto and New York. And if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be disappointing.
So you're projecting them to make the playoffs?
If they don't, Alex Cora can find himself a new job.
Boston has very little patience for managers and coaches. So Boston Red Sox,
if they could fire Terry Francona, they can fire anybody.
They got it in them, yeah. After winning them the long droughted World Series too, so yeah, they don't care. So that's good.
He got us
two. That's right.
Cora's only got us one.
Embarrassing, Rob. Embarrassing. Yeah, for the Boston sports fan. Hey, part of the excitement, by the way, on the UFL side, if you're cheering for the Renegades, I want that Boston, whatever the Boston luck. Get it over here towards the Renegades so we can win a championship. Because Lord knows I would like one. So sweet. Boston looking really good. We got the opening baseball season. Anything else on them? I don't want to start diving into anything else.
That's plenty for now.
I'll be brief. I didn't have too much on the Texas Rangers. I know their power rankings right now, ESPN's ranking them at 14. I took a look at your power rankings after you mentioned it, and Boston Red Sox, by the way, ranked number 9. That they should have a good opportunity to make it. The one cool thing is ESPN said most likely to win the 2026 award, any award whatsoever, just most likely to win one. Skip Shoemaker for AL Manager of the Year, which here's my little report to that.
You've got yourselves a very good manager.
I think so too. And I'm looking at ESPN. I'm going, then why do you rank us at 14? Which one is it? Is he a great manager and he's going to do real well, or not? But maybe. And then you got Corey Seager, who could possibly be an MVP if he goes off again. You never know. So ESPN's well aware that he's a good manager, but I guess they're not counting on the Rangers doing much.
Have you looked at your pitching staff?
The pitching staff's actually the strong part with DeGrom. Are you talking about our bullpen?
Well, I'm talking about DeGrom and Evaldi. I love Evaldi.
Oh yeah, okay.
But what do both of those two guys have a very hard time doing?
Injuries is staying out.
They rarely pitch more than 150 innings because they get taken out by injury. If they stay healthy, the Rangers can make playoffs.
Yeah, not only, contend for the playoffs, because that's what it's all about, is pitching too in the playoffs. And then we got a Leiter and Rocker in there as well, finally being pulled up, and Leiter's looking really good, looked really good last year, so hopefully he continues on to his trend, and same with Rocker. We could have one of the best starting lineups in the MLB. The problem is like we mentioned in week 1 during spring training, it's our bullpen. Our bullpen's bad, and the bats have to come alive. And hopefully we've got the talent for the bats to come alive. Shoemaker needs to do his part, I guess, to just get it going. And I don't know how, just get them out of their mental break that they had last year, because that was inexcusable with that batting lineup to score that few of runs. Not going to do well again in 2026. So let's see if he can turn it around and maybe get it going. You mentioned the Dallas Stars, and the Dallas Stars did lock in their playoff spot, and with 12 games to go, pretty much locked in their position and also their opponent. It looks like, unless something insane happens, crazy miracles, the Minnesota Wild are going to be the Rangers. That's my chest, Rob. That is my chest.
Oh, sorry, I could not laugh there. The camera got excited. It wanted to see your chest.
I didn't even do the hand signal. I got to keep my hands down. I could set this thing in stone. I'm probably going to start doing that going forward. But yeah, the Dallas Stars are looking like they're going to be playing the Minnesota Wild. One of the weirdest things in the NHL is how the second seed has to play the third seed because of the fixed brackets. Kind of sucks.
They make you go through your division first. They really do, which is great for rivalries. But at the same time, you're like, I've already played these guys like a dozen times. Now and it can be tough. And then oftentimes you see the team that dominated the regular season not necessarily do so well against that team again. It's just like, when you see a team in the NFL play their division opponent for the third time, if they went 2-0 against them, Ooh, they might end up 2-1 now.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of it, but hey, I'll tell you one thing: the Minnesota-Dallas rivalry. I don't know about the Dallas side; we don't really care too much towards Minnesota, but Minnesota hates Dallas because that's where the North Stars ended up moving, and that's where they lost Madonna, and they are not a happy fan base about that move, and I don't blame them too. I mean, you're talking hockey town all of a sudden moving down to Dallas, that can't make you too happy, and those fans do not forget. It's going to be a highly
careful.
Go ahead.
Careful calling it hockey town. Detroit might get angry, but Minnesota, the biggest hockey state in the country, it's right up there for sure. So that was tough, but they have their Wild now, and the Wild have been pretty good the last few years.
Yeah, very good, very physical, perfect for NHL hockey, and the Stars are going to have a pretty good test up ahead of them too, because the trades they were making, especially with the Chaos Draft, I love that nickname, coming in on this team, they were trying to trade for a more physical team to keep up with these kind of teams that we can hit back just a little, because that's been the weakness when it comes to the Stars heading into the playoffs, is that they're just not physical enough to get them to the cup. They're close. They just got to get over the hump, and hopefully that is improved. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the Stars. Now it's just the waiting game, and whatever you do, just rest your starters, and not officially, but you know what I mean. Like, let's take it easy on them. Maybe less lines sending them out there, just so we could start gearing up for the playoffs and rear it up when we have to, for sure. Maybe
yeah, the Stars are definitely a favorite coming out of the West. A lot of people are wondering if we're going to get year 3 in a row, Edmonton versus Dallas, to see who's going to rep the West. And if it comes down to that, Dallas is much better goaltending. So in goaltending, the reason why Edmonton doesn't have a cup over these last 3 to 5 years is because they can't find a goaltender that's functional in the playoffs.
But the difference of having that guy like McDavid can make a huge difference. And boy, did I learn it last year, and I almost don't want to learn it again. I hope we don't have to face him, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Can't wait for the hockey run. Got to get out of the first round first. So that's not going to be easy either. Like I said, that crowd is going to hate us.
They will, but y'all will be favored.
Yeah, we'll definitely be favored, but man, hockey's weird though. You can lose those kind of series too.
I know. I know.
Yeah. And yeah, from the Bruins a couple years ago being the number 1 seed, right? It happens.
Regular season ever, and bounced because one of your old coaches, who was our coach at the time, decided to tinker with his lineup. Get out of here, DeBoer.
That was Montgomery, right?
Oh, was it Montgomery? I don't know. You get a lot of former coaches. Montgomery. Get out of here,
So
Montgomery.
do you. It's hockey.
Stay in St. Louis.
They recycle coaches like no other.
Yeah, Montgomery.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I can't wait for the NHL playoffs. It's a lot of excitement. And Rob, I know how much of a hockey fan you are, so that's your number 1 sport. So it's going to be very exciting to go into that.
It will.
The last thing that I have, do you have anything on the Patriots by chance? They haven't done much.
Not right now. Tommy DeVito, new number 2 quarterback. Dobbs is gone. Shocker, they locked in DeVito at a cheaper contract than Dobbs, so Dobbs is out.
Dobbs is out. Wow, they already okay. That didn't take long. Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, he's got to, especially with that without significant improvement on the offensive line. They've got to do something about that. I think I'm right there with you. I don't know what the Patriots are doing in the free agency. I get the Cowboys because they're cap strung. The Patriots aren't. Like, go. It's time. You made it to the Super Bowl. You got to go.
Yep. And at this point, if your point was using all that space on A.J. Brown, pull the trigger on a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Go get yourself another wide receiver. Yeah. The last thing that I got for the Dallas Cowboys, because they haven't done much either. It looks like free agency's calming down. One, they took a shot at Crosby, it looks like, and they didn't get him with the first round this year and number 12, and then the second round next year. Oakland or Las Vegas said no, so that's not going to work out. We had an interesting debate on Brandon Aubrey a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. I love, the contract debate. And I listened to this show called The Dumb Zone. It's a podcast. It's a local podcast up in Dallas. And they did an interview with Brandon Aubrey. And I think at the end of the day, we were both right. If you want, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the interview and see what you think, Rob.
What they're hearing, and then it played out. There was an apology issued, and I think it cooled off. And people that know what's going on are the people that are involved in the conversations. And I don't think it's important to say all the details of what's going on. So I don't think that'll ever come out. Just know that I want to be here in Dallas, and seems like the Cowboys want me here in Dallas. So something will happen eventually. They like to take their time to get the deals right, and see if the players want to rush, and it's on the players to take their time and make sure the deal's right as well. So we won't rush into anything, make sure the deal's right for us, and the Cowboys will do the same on their end.
Are you demanding $10 million a year?
I am not demanding $10 million a year, no.
But he wouldn't say no to $10 million a year.
Of course not. Hell, I wouldn't.
Also,
I'll tell you that.
They didn't ask if the correct question is your agent demanding $10 million a year? That's the correct question.
And that is actually a really big point, because one thing that agents would do, though, is they would say, shut the hell up about any sort of contract stuff. And for him to come out and say $10 million a year, it just must mean it just wasn't in the stratosphere. But as you stated on the previous show, it's not like Jerry's doing a service out there. He released this story that he offered him $7.5 million, and you could tell Brandon Aubrey's like, it's just not true. So in a weird
Jerry likes to, for some reason, he likes to lie about what he offers players, and he thinks the truth isn't going to come out. He did this with Micah. He did this with Dak. He did this. I'm glad he's not my team's owner. I'm glad he's not my team's owner.
I'm so used to contract talk. It's not even funny. That's why it is what it is. But Brandon Aubrey, though, at the end of the day, Brandon Aubrey, being a class act that he is handling it really well. The other weird thing that I noticed, and it could just be a style of hat, I'm not too familiar, but if you noticed, it was upside down, Rob.
So
it was upside down. Dallas was upside down.
So he wasn't flying his flag upside down to say that there was an issue and to someone come save him. Since football season, college football season really got going, that's been a very popular style of hat, is to take whatever the name of the town, the city, the team is, and put it upside down. It's supposed to be cool and hip and stylish and catch attention. And so people that need to be a part of every single effing trend made those hats. And the people that can't be left out are all buying those hats. I'm sorry. I think it looks stupid.
Well, I'm glad you have hat knowledge, though, because I don't wear hats too often. So I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, well, that's weird. He's wearing Dallas upside down. I'm not too sure about that, but thank you for making me feel a little better that he's not hating on the city. It's just a style. I
just old man yelled at Cloud there, but it's a style I don't like. I don't own. I think it's dumb. But yeah. Also, Nick, when you're golfing, at least get a visor, man. It's the Texas sun. You need at least a visor.
And this forehead is only getting bigger and bigger, and it's starting to burn up into the scalp area. Yeah, I should. I just want the sun to hit my hair because I don't know. I just don't want to lose my hair, so I'm like, I have it out there, but it is what it is. Visor's a good choice. Visor's a good choice, and I might look good in one. I don't know. I haven't worn one in a while, so we'll see. It might be a good look. I might start wearing it for the show. A visor.
Yeah. Have your partner take you visor shopping.
Yeah, great idea. Yeah, I like that. I'll take her out and say, hey, we're gonna go somewhere special. It's called Lids. So let's see what she thinks. Yeah. So that's all I got on my other sports. Rob, any other points need to be made?
That's all we got. I'm excited. We got UFL back and we got MLB back. It's a good sports week.
It's a good sports week. Masters around the corner.
We're getting close.
I know when football season ends, NFL season ends, everyone gets frustrated. But when you're a UFL fan and a baseball fan and into golf, this is like a sweet spot. You got March Madness. I love this time of year. This is actually one of my favorite sports years.
Tigers playing in TGL tonight. Does that mean he can tee it up at Augusta? We'll see.
Nick and Rob Homer Hour is saying yes.
I hope so.
We're announcing it first until the news is wrong, and then we'll backtrack. We'll redact it next show if that's wrong, but we're saying yes. Should be fun. So we got 5 people tuning in right now, Rob. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, they know where to find us, but Rob, what are some other locations for them to find us?
Yeah, if you can see our beautiful faces right now, you are looking at us either on our X channel or on our YouTube channel. You can find us at Nick and Rob Homer Hour with different underscores and stuff, depending on what it means. Just search Nick and Rob Homer Hour, and you can find us on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please like, please subscribe, share with a friend. We do these weekly pods, and with a lot of these big sports, including the UFL starting back up, we will have some of our world famous watch-alongs. We got one coming to you in just a few weeks. All right, it's happening. So like and subscribe there. You can find us again on X, Nick and Rob Homer Hour. Follow us there. Same as Instagram and Blue Sky.
Yes. Hit them all. And then I think you mentioned TikTok, right? We're also on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. We got the TikTok too. That's where our best of is. That's where our shorts are. Find us on the TikTok. Give us a follow there. I don't know what they call it. Share some of our posts. Retweet our TikToks. I don't know. But yeah, spread the news. Let's keep our audience growing as we go into the UFL season.
Yeah, for sure. And until then, we're going to have week 1 reactions next week, Rob. And I cannot wait. And I swear to God, the Renegades better beat the Houston Roughnecks. Or, my apologies, Gamblers. So we're hoping for it, and we'll definitely talk about it some in our next Tuesday.
Sweet.